Hello, welcome to another video. So in this video, in the first two videos, we looked at we looked at what the three types of tenses are. We also looked at a video where we were looking at some questions. For this video, I'm just going to give a summary, some tips on a few things that we never really got to touch on in the previous video. So if you still haven't watched those two videos, please just pause this video and go ahead and go watch that one. Okay, so let's get to it. So we already know that we have three types of data. So we have teenwoordige, verlede, and toekomende. Okay, so we already discussed that the teenwoordige is what's happening now. And then verlede is what happened before. So we already discussed that this will have a het and a ge with your werkwoord. And then toekomende is what will happen in the future. Okay, so what's going to happen 2 hours from now? What's going to happen 3 days from now? That is your toekomende right? So if we look at an example, I'm just going to give out an example. Even though we really did touch on these things, I'm just going to give an example. So an example could be ek speel, which will then be your teenwoordige tyd. Then if we change it to verlede tyd, it would be ek het gespeel. And then if we change it to our future tense, it will be ek sal speel. So that's just an example of a basic sentence where we have to change it in terms of teenwoordige, verlede, and toekomende. Okay, so everything in Afrikaans TYE is built from this base. So everything when it comes to TYE is built off of this. You need to know this to be able to understand certain things when it comes to Afrikaans, like your leidende vorm and bedrijvende vorm, things like that. So if you understand this, you should be able to be fine. Now, let's have a look. I did mention this in another video that if we have, for example, I try and use different colors because it's nicer. If you have a verb, okay, so let's say your verb is us. This in the present tense is us. In the past tense, it will change to was. And then in the future tense, you'll have a sal and you have a wees. So an example for this could be, let's see an example. So let me not even write it like that. This is an Afrikaans session. So let me erase this. And then we try that again. Bijvoorbeeld, okay? Dit is gold. Okay, so we have dit is gold. In order to change this to past tense, it will just be dit was gold. To change it to future tense, it would be dit sal gold wees. And that is what I just explained there in green, to say that whenever we have this is how it would change. So if we just highlight it a bit, we'll see we have us, was, sal, wees. That's exactly what we looked at over there. Okay, now let's look at a different concept. So you need to understand that this is just rules. It's just how it is. Not every sentence will have a het, not every sentence will have a ge, not every sentence will be the same. So this is just a rule when it comes to the is, was, and sal, wees. So you need to know this. Then if we look at some sentence patterns, so this is where most students actually lose marks. So we need to stop that now. No losing marks. So when we're looking at our sentence patterns, okay, sentence patterns. So when we're looking at this, the first thing we need to be able to know that if there's two verbs, okay, so if there's two verbs, for example, this could be sien, hoor, laat, begin. So if there's two verbs and one of those verbs being either of these, you can also have, for example, you can also have hope and fool. You can also have fool as well. Okay? So if we have something like that, and let's say our sentence is ek sien die hond hardloop. So ek sien die hond hardloop. You should be able to identify that we have two different verbs. We have seen, which is this one, and then we have hardloop. So now we have one verb with another verb that is sien, hoor, laat, begin, help, of voel, which in this case is seen. How do we go about it? In order to write our sentence, in past tense, it would be, for example, ek het die hond sien hardloop. And reason being is because we have the seen and the hardloop. If it was a case where maybe the sentence was just ek sien die hond, for example, ek sien die hond, then this could be written as ek het die hond gesien. Then this would work. But in this case, it's not how it's going to work. This would be your answer. So all you're just going to then do is you're going to have your seen and your hardloop next to each other like that. If it was hoor, or for example saying ek hoor die hond hardloop. So ek hoor die hond hardloop. Okay? Then your sentence would be ek het die hond hoor hardloop. So you always need to be careful. You need to look out for those types of things. So you need to look out for hoor and then a verb. So hoor is part of these verbs. So you need to be able to know that. Okay, so I need you guys to understand that. I need you to practice it. Okay, it's the only way it will make sense. Then if we have number 2, for example, if we have simultaneous actions, so we have more than one actions happening, okay? So 2 simultaneous actions. So 2 things happening at the same time. How do we go about it? So let's say byvoorbeeld we have hy staan en praat. Okay? Hy staan en praat. So it's happening, 2 things happening at the same time. So you're standing, while you're standing, you're speaking. So it's happening at the same time. Okay? Then this would change. And in order to write this in past tense, it would be hy het gestaan en praat. That is when we have simultaneous actions. So it could be hy sit en lees, then you would be hy het gesit en lees. Because it's happening at the same time. You're doing the 2 things at the same time. So that is that one. Then if we have non-simultaneous, so what happens if we have non-simultaneous? So I need you guys to be able to see the difference. Non-simultaneous actions. I'm going to try and force it here so that you guys can see the difference between the 2. So byvoorbeeld hulle loop en dans. So hulle loop en dans. So you're walking, while you're walking, you're dancing. You can't do you can't do both of them at the same time. You can't. It's like saying you're, I need to think of an example now. It's like saying you're doing the dishes and cooking. it's not this, you can't do it at the same time. You're doing the dishes while you're cooking. I hope I'm getting my point across. That means that it's non-simultaneous actions. And in order to write this, it will be hulle het geloop en gedans. So I need you guys to look at all of these, okay? The orange section is simultaneous actions. This is things that you can do at the same time. So, like I mentioned, you can read a book while sitting in bed. That's possible. That's an example like that. You only put a ge on the first verb or on the first action. Yeah, action is a verb. That's where you put it. But whenever you're doing non-simultaneous actions, hulle loop and dance, or you're cooking and cleaning, you can't, it's not happening at the same time. Like, I don't know how to explain this. So this is the cooking, this is the cleaning, okay? You go and clean, you clean a little bit, let's say like, oh, I'm going to mop the kitchen, then you go to check the cooking, you mix the pots, then you go clean the bedroom, then you go mix the pots, then you can't do it at the same time. But then if you're standing, so this is someone standing and then you speaking, so words, I'm just not saying words, you're speaking, it's happening at the same time. I hope this example makes sense. That's what this is all about, okay? When it's simultaneous, you only get one verb with ge. If it's non-simultaneous, both verbs get a ge. I hope I hope I drove my point across with that little drawing. Okay, and then those are the three things that you need to understand. And then when it comes to our next section, let's have a look at the next section. So when it comes to our passive voice, so we have active and passive voice, leidende and bedrijvende vorm. Okay, this is when we have, for example, voor, is, deur, or sal deur, for. Okay, I will look into a video when it comes to this. I will have a video down below. Well, not down below, but I will record a video talking about leidende and bedrijvende. But if you're watching this video and it's already there, then just go have a look at this. But when you have that, some of the words then start to change. Okay, so this is when you have voort, is, deur, sal, deur. So when you have your tenses, it will change a little bit. Okay, so if it's in teenwoordige tyd, it will just be voor. If it's in your past tense, it will be is, deur. If it's in your future tense, it will be sal, deur. And then sometimes you add the word woord. Okay, so that is when it comes to the passive voice. Then another scenario would be your modal verbs. Okay, so when we're talking about this is when we're talking about things that can change. So let's say we have kan, it will change to kon. If we have wil, it will change to wil. Moet will change to moes. And then your mag will stay the same. So, okay, so this is some examples. So if we look at a full sentence, so let's say bijvoorbeeld, when it comes to this, let's say we have ek kan werk doen. So we can already identify that this is in our present tense. How would we write it in our past tense? Okay, ek kon werk doen. So then it changed from kan to kon. Future tense, it will be ek sal werk kan doen. So which brings me to the next point, which is your sal plus kan, or wil, or moet. Then it will change and it will be that. So if I highlight quickly, your kan changed to kon. And then from there, you have a sal and kan together. for your future tense. So that is what I mean when we're talking about modal verbs. Okay, it's incidences where it has to change. Okay, where you'll have to change, and again goes back to what I mentioned earlier. It's rules. There's always going to be rules, and this is one of those rules. Okay. Then the next thing that we have is your infinitive. So if you already know this, infinitive is using your de. So ek het blah 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 om werk te doen. Ek het by die winkel gegaan om kos te koop. Whatever example you want to give. Also, I've noticed I always give food examples. Like all my examples, somewhere is going to be about food. Anyway, so let's look at another example. Let me write down an example this time. So bijvoorbeeld, maybe we have hy gaan winkel toe om brood te koop. So he's going to the shop to buy bread. Okay. Hy gaan winkel toe om brood te koop. When we have to write this in past tense, we're going to say hy het gegaan om brood te koop. So we can see that we have this over here. This gaan. It's going to get a gaan and then the rest of the sentence. Hy het gegaan om brood te koop. Or you could just also say hy het gegaan winkel toe om brood te koop. Then, if we have it in our future tense, we can say hy sal gaan om brood te koop. So I'm going to add the winkel part. Hy het gegaan winkel toe. Hy sal gaan winkel toe om brood te koop. So that's when we have our and our da. Okay, so that is when we have infinitive. So it never breaks, only the tense changes it around. Okay, so the tense will just change it a bit, just like with everything else. When you're changing from present to past, past to present, whatever it is, somewhere, somehow, it will just change it around, but then the sentence still stays the same. It never breaks. The whole concept of the sentence needs to stay the same. You can't say, I'm going to the shop, and then you change it and say, I'm going to the shop yesterday, today, whatever. Yesterday I went to the shop, or no, it still stays the same, but you're just mixing around the words just based on the tense. So that's what I mean. Okay. So I hope this made sense. Please always remember your present is the now, the past is het and ge, future tense is sal. And then, yeah, just always remember these notes that we just discussed. Always keep in mind that we have certain rules that we need to follow. And for example, like these is the rules. This are the rules. Okay, and I will be sure to have a video talking about some leidende vorm, which is your active and your passive voice, and then we'll look at this again in that video just to touch base on, because here we just looked at a little bit of it. Okay, so I'll go into a deeper video explaining the active and the passive voice. But I hope this gave some more clarity on a few things. It's not always going to be het and ge or yourself. So certain things are going to change, and you need to familiarize yourselves with it. Okay, I hope this video made sense, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the comment section, like this video, and please subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Bye.